Hi, welcome back to Piper's Notes. I'm Piper and this is my dad. And today we have a very special episode of Piper's Notes. Our guest today is one of the most coolest people in the wrestling business right now. She's the queen of House Rose. It's none other than Raychell Rose.
Hi.
Hey, and we're bending the knee, just so you get that knocked out.
Get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way. Hey, before we jump into this, I have to ask, how magical is Pinball's Kingdom? I mean, that setting, especially at Tournament Out of Hell with the carnival in the background and everything, that was just awesome. You have to really love that venue.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun venue to work out of.
Have you had the chicken tenders there? The only reason I asked
No, I haven't.
We had them last time, and they are like the best chicken tenders I've ever had anywhere, bar none.
Oh, wow. Maybe I'll have to get them next time.
Yeah.
As we were researching and listening, the thing that immediately jumps out at me is your creativity. One of my absolute favorite wrestlers is Marty Bell. And like you, she has a background in dance and theater. And she said that pro wrestling is the ultimate form of art. How do you see pro wrestling as a form of artistic expression?
It's like, so it's almost like, I think it's like a mix of like almost any type of entertainment that you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I feel like it takes like the physical aspect of like any kind of combat sport, and then you also have the emotional aspect of like where you want the crowd to feel a certain way, of like theater and like stage performance and things like that. And I think it's like dance kind of does the same thing, where like you try and get like the audience to like convey an emotion, you know what I mean, off of what you're doing. But it does, like, I feel like you can tell so many stories with wrestling. You can make like so many unique experiences for like yourself, for the audience, and I think it's just like there's like unlimited possibilities, like with what you can do with wrestling and what you can turn it into. So I think it's like one of the most like complex like forms of like artistic expression, I guess you could be involved in.
Yeah. I've learned that you're a fan of Disney and that you really love Beauty and the Beast and Moana. Most Disney features features are musicals. Are you a fan of Broadway musicals? Or
I love Broadway musicals.
So that leads to the next question then, like Hamilton. Have you seen it? How many times have you seen it? Is it on your playlist in your car when you're riding down the highways in Texas to your next town that you have to make and all that?
So yeah, I love Hamilton. It's phenomenal. And if I have a friend named Emily, and she's like one of my best friends, and she loves Hamilton as well. And if I'm riding with her, because sometimes she'll come to shows with me because she wants to watch them. So sometimes I'll ride with her, so she's not like driving by herself, and I get to ride with my friend, and we'll listen to like the whole soundtrack. And then when it came out on Disney Plus, me, her, and my sister all like had a sit-in like musical watch party to watch it, and it was the best.
Do you guys have a like jam out song on that soundtrack that when it hits and you're in the car, y'all just go nuts?
I think it's different for all of us. Like, we all have like our favorite ones. My friend Emily, I think Satisfied is probably her favorite. My sister, I'm not sure which one would be her favorite, but mine that like I like to like sing along to or like go along to because it's a lot of rap is Guns and Chips. I think that one's like one of my favorites. It might be my favorite.
My favorite is Burn, but my favorite to jam out to is Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, see, that's like the classic. Like that's like the like you have to listen to that if you're listening to like any Hamilton like album.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like how sensitive a person you are, but when we were watching it that 4th of July weekend that it came out, it was my brother's family, and we were all over at his house, and And it got to the part of, it's quiet uptown. And it's like, it wasn't a dry eye in the room. Everybody's kind of looking at each other and trying to hide the... Even Piper here. I'm looking at Piper.
I cried at Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. That's the one I cried at.
I think what gets me is Philippia So. She's phenomenal. And the scream she does at the end of... when Philip goes, I think that's what kills me every time. Like, usually I'm pretty good, and then, like, whenever she does the scream, it, like, breaks my heart, and I'm like, oh, no!
It's fantastic. What about, like, Phantom of the Opera, or any of those other ones?
I don't know them. I don't know Phantom of the Opera as well, but I like the music from it. I've never seen it, like, in one piece, but I've listened to, like, I think almost every song on it.
We went to New York and we saw Beetlejuice, Phantom of the Opera, and Rock of Ages.
Oh, Beetlejuice is so good.
It is. It's really good.
I've never been to, like, a real Broadway show, and it kills me. I want to one day. Hopefully, if I make it, I'll have enough money to go to Broadway and watch a show.
Well, you're going to make it, and I think as the world begins to open up, I think Hamilton is touring next year, I believe, and I'm certain it's going to be coming through like San Antonio or the Houston area.
Yeah, it was supposed to this year, and we were looking at tickets, and I was like, why? I was like, I mean, I get it, but why?
Yeah.
That's what Tanya said. She was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, BRB, you're going to go sell some kidneys to get the Hamilton tickets.
So, I'm told that you're a really amazing singer.
That's not an amazing singer. It says not an amazing singer on the script there. Anyway, ask the question.
If you were at a karaoke party and if you were bold enough to sing, or if you were forced to, what would be your go-to songs?
I think it's like a cop-out because it's really not like singing, but one of the songs like that I know every word to just because of my dad, and like it became known amongst my friends very early that I knew every word to the song, and so like at a lot of parties they'd be like, "Oh, do the thing!" But like I know Ice Ice Baby, so I'd probably just do that because it's come up multiple times where my friends are like, "Oh yeah, she knows the words to this," and I'm like, "That's not a hard song to know the words to." That's cool. It's really not singing, so I don't know if that counts.
No, and that song was like way before your time too. That was like when I was in high school. That had just come out, so your dad's done a good job.
Yeah, like I said, my dad was very, like his music taste rubbed off on me a lot.
Right. Now, one of our missions on this show, and this is kind of our, you've done the interview with Gary, which I think is one of the best interviews that he's done, period. But we all have our own little shows. And this show, the whole point of this is to show that pro wrestling is a very legitimate form of performance art up there with dance, theater, anything. It's not just some crass form of low-life entertainment. It's very refined. And I have to. So we don't like to get on here and ask our guests a lot about wrestling because you get that all the time, I'm sure. But I have to know, being a Texan, I know a little bit about your background and being discovered by Booker T and this and that and Kroger. But growing up, were you aware of like the Von Erichs and the Freebird War and World Class Championship Wrestling? Because you're like on sacred ground, there in Texas.
Growing up, I didn't really know anything about that. I've learned more about it now, but like. Before I was really like a part of wrestling, I didn't know like almost anything about that.
Gotcha. We're very proud wrestling fans again because of what we've just said about it being a very refined form of art, and I have no shame in being a mark. We go out, we mark out, and have a good time and love wrestling. We're actually going to a Tracy Smothers show tonight, like 2 hours away. We do it all the time. Part of being a mark is that's part and parcel of the pageantry of wrestling. When you go and make someone bend the knee, that's fun. I mean, it's awesome, and then the commentators are talking about it. And some of the best wrestlers are great because they themselves are marks. And I know that you're a mark of wrestling and you've got your favorites. How giddy does it make you feel when you see like fans mark out to you like that picture at Tournament of Hell, the little girl in the costume, the butterfly costume, bending the knee? That is priceless. Like, how giddy does that make you, like in real life?
It's. I don't think it'll ever get old. Like, it's always just like a good feeling. Like, it's a very like surreal feeling, and like sometimes I don't think like it fully registers that like people, so like little girls feel the same way about me that like I felt about like Paige or Lita or the Bellas or like whatever else. So like sometimes like it'll hit me like all of a sudden, and I'll be like, whoa, that's not real. And then sometimes I think like it'll happen like in the moment, and for like I'm like, yeah, that's cool, and then like I won't really think about it till later, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
Is there somebody that you like still mark out to, like you're at the back in the locker room, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be in the ring with the Bellas, or I'm about to? Is there somebody that you just like you cannot, even though you are an established and really exciting talent right now, and a lot of people are talking about you? Like, are there still those names that just, like, put you aback, and you're like, holy cow, I cannot believe I'm doing this with her?
Yeah, the only one that, like, I've actually gotten in the ring with would be Jazz. Before, we did, like, a trios match together, and before the match, I was just, like, sitting in the back, like, this, and I had my head in my arms, and I was literally just like trying to breathe and be like, "It's okay, you're gonna do fine." And then there's a video of me meeting Paige, and I was like, I think I was like a week off of having my first match. Like I was about to have my first match when I met her, and I'm usually not. Like, I'm usually pretty good about, like, when I meet people, like, I try and be, like, professional and chill, and, like, and I, like, had a question to ask her, and then I just started crying in the middle of in the whole room. Everyone saw it, and I was like, oh, no! So that one was kind of a mark-out moment, but, I mean, I own it, whatever. And then, I think, like, I feel like it's, like, any, like, name that you grew up with, you know what I mean? Like, if I was in the locker room with, like, any of, like, the wrestlers that I grew up watching, I think I would probably cry. Like, by myself, like, alone in the back or something. But, like, I think I would probably be like, oh, this is crazy.
That's like me to Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'd be like,
yeah.
Authenticity is important in wrestling. How does your character, Raychell Rose, represent you in real life? Were you a mean girl in high school, or are you a natural leader?
I was not a mean girl in high school. I was the girl that the mean girls bullied in high school. My school career was not the most fun in terms of, like, the social aspect. But that's okay. I mean, honestly, I feel like sometimes it does help the character, because, like, I know what made me feel a certain way. And so sometimes, like, I'll bring that type of stuff out, and because I know it makes people feel a certain way, because it worked on me. And then I just try and, like, get in a different headspace, like, before I go out. Like, I really try and just, like, it's weird, but, like, I try and just, like, in the best way I can, like, get into, like, Rachel's head and, like, Rachel's mindset, and go out there and, like, turn that into its own, like, authentic character that I can kind of channel.
I'm actually a high school administrator. I'm a teacher, and we have, hearing some of your interviews, like, I see those students in my head that really, really just cool kids. You know, cool is different now than it was when I was. Now, like, nerdy is the new cool. You know, so the kids that are, like, into Japanese anime and pro wrestling, like, they're really cool at our school. You know, and they've got their own little.
Must be nice.
They've got their own little subculture, you know, and maybe our school is just unique. But like, what kind of student were you in high school? Did you get A's and B's, or were you involved in extracurriculars and that kind of thing?
It depended on the subject. I was definitely like an English history person. I was not a math and science person. I am terrible at math and science. The only science class I ever liked was forensic science. I took it my senior year of high school, and that class was awesome. I loved that class. And then as far as extracurriculars, I was involved in color guard from like 6th grade, I believe. 6th or 7th grade until like my junior year, I believe. And then I did theater arts after that, and I was a part of Blue Crew, which was like a pep squad. It wasn't the cheerleaders and it wasn't the drill team, but we went out with the football players and we ran the flags across the field when they scored, and we wore matching jumpsuits, and we just acted like idiots during the game to entertain the stands and keep them animated. But it was fun because we basically got to be cheerleaders without having to have any skill. We just did a bunch of dumb stuff and made people laugh.
So I want to broach a very controversial topic. The topic of Funko Pops.
A Funko.
Do you collect Funko Pops, or if you do, what are your favorites?
I do collect them. I have most of them like hung up on my wall. They kind of like do the little floaty thing up there. So I have like a stack there, and then in the middle, and then another one over there, and then I have some that I just haven't hung up yet because they don't fit the like categories yet. I need more of them to like make their own little categories. But my favorite pop, that's hard. I have a lot.
So that's like the superhero category that we see on the camera.
Yeah, so this would be Marvel up here. So I have Iron Man. I have Iron Man's Endgame suit, his like nanotech one. I have just Tony Stark, and then I have Spider-Gwen, Iron Spider, and Venomized X-23, which X-23 is also one of my favorite comic book characters in general, and then the Venomized one just looks really cool, so I bought it. And then I have my wrestling Pops, my Disney Pops, and I have my DC comic Pops over on the other side. I think my favorite one, I'd say my favorite one probably has to be my Tony Stark one, because he's like really cute. He's got like a little cat on his shirt, and it's just very like they're all like super like cool looking, but like his is like I just find it so like neat because it's just Tony, like, you know what I mean.
Are you like a completist? Do you like actively try to complete the collection, or are you gonna just see them and then, hey, that's cool, I want that for my collection, and just pick it up just by happenstance? Or
I usually just pick up the ones I like really like. I know Marvel and Star Wars both have a golden collection where they're like all in gold and they look like little awards almost. But I almost want to get all of those just because they look really cool, and I feel like a full gold set would look really nice. But other than that, I just kind of pick out the ones I like.
My dad showed me a video of you super kicking Pikachu. Me personally, I find him annoying, or they annoying.
I just think their voices are annoying.
But I like Eevee. But that couldn't have gone well with the kids watching, right?
No, it didn't go well with the kids, actually. Yeah, they were not the most happy. There was like one little girl that was just like crying.
Why did you super kick Pikachu?
Because he touched me and I was angry, and you can't touch the queen because that's against the fucking. Sorry, that's against the rules. So, you know, I had to make an example out of him.
And that's something like I think nobody else can say. Like you're the only one that can say they super kicked Pikachu.
Yeah, of all the things you would think like would go viral almost like that I've done, all the clips. Nope, it was the super kicking Pikachu. That's still like my most like popular post I've ever on any social media. It's the top post is me kicking Pikachu.
I've listened to probably 4 or 5 of your interviews, and I think it's only come up once before in some of the interviews. So I'm amazed that more people. I thought Gary would have brought it up. It's like you're surely going to talk about Pikachu because he's such a nerd about all that stuff too. But I was going to ask you again. We said earlier that you're very very creative. You whether it be with dance or even like hairstyling, you draw. You like theater, wrestling, of course, cosplay. You like makeup. This is a question about aesthetics. When you look at like the classic championship belts, do you have a favorite design? What are your favorite belts that you're like, man, if I collected belts, those are the ones I want on my shelf?
Ooh, it's hard. I will always love the big gold belt. I just think it's like, I think if almost anyone thinks of like classic title belts, like they almost always think of that one. I really like that belt. I really liked the before they combined both belts, the heavyweight belt and the world title. I liked both of those separately as well. Yeah, I just like the like classic look, like the very clean and like sophisticated looking belts.
Mm-hmm.
I think the belt that Thunder Rosa was wearing there for a while, the NWA women's title. I love that classic design with the photo in the middle, like they used to do back in the Mildred Burke era. That's one of the coolest belts.
Didn't you say yours was like your favorite belt style with the TV champion?
I like the TV title.
Yes,
I like it. Title. You talk about one of your ambitions is to make a healthy living off of pro wrestling or a comfortable living. Have your ambitions changed at all? And the reason I ask that is because, saying that 2 years ago is one thing, but now you're Raychell Rose. Now, like, everybody's talking about you. And it wouldn't seem to me like, or maybe it is, I mean, a comfortable living is one thing, but you can make, like, big money now. Or, that's in the cards for you because you really are, like, again, I'm just a mark. I'm just a fan. I don't have to, I know we fly all the way out to Texas, and we've done it twice just to see you. So, and we live in Tennessee, so where's Raychell Rose going to be at in 5 years from now?
I mean, I think it's everyone's like dream to like make it quote unquote where like you're at a big company or you are under contract or whatever. Like, I mean, everyone's like version of making it is different. So, like, would I love to end up in like a big company or like the company I watched when I was growing up and like things like that? I think obviously like that would be amazing and it would be a dream come true. As far as like what I'll be happy with in wrestling is still like if I can just be able to say that wrestling is like my full-time job and it's what I make my living off of, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm a pro wrestler, and that's how I go about living my life. I think I would still be happy.
What are some of your other creative ambitions right now apart from wrestling? Do you still draw? Have you thought of doing any story writing?
So I'm not a very great story writer. I've tried before and like with like English classes and things, I was never like the most creative writer. I don't know like why that was, but I do still paint every once in a while. And as far as like things I would like to do, I've been thinking about getting my cosmetology license, mostly for like hair type things, because I'm decent at makeup, but like actually like dyeing hair or cutting hair or like doing the bleaching and all of that, I don't know much about, so I would like to learn more about that and maybe use that as my day job until I don't need a day job.
What advice would you give someone like me who, though, may not want to pursue wrestling, but another form of art, like theater or acting, singing?
I think that you have to remember that everyone's a critic, and it would be a wonderful world if everyone just supported people and their dreams and what they wanted to do. But there's people in old school mindsets, and there's people who don't believe that it's a realistic living. But it is. You can do anything you want, and that sounds very cliche, but it might be hard. You might have to, work to help support your dream. You might have to do other things that other jobs that you might not dream of doing to help support it. But making it to your dream is not anywhere close to impossible. And also, never take criticism to heart from someone you would not seek out advice from. That is a big thing for me. So listen to everyone's advice, consider everyone's advice, but don't let anything weigh down your heart when it goes against what you want to do with your life. Sorry, was that motivational or was
It's inspiring.
I know when I first started, there was a lot of people, teachers or friends' parents or my family, not my dad and them, but my more extended family that thought it was funny or a joke or would kind of make fun of it, and that's okay. They can do that. Just kind of keep your head on and know what you want to do and where you want to go, and make the steps that you need to make to get there.
Yeah, I was listening. I can't remember which. It might have been the Gary interview, but where you mentioned that a teacher made fun of you about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine a teacher.
Just in front of the whole class. I was like, oh, cool. But since then, I've also gone back to visit teachers at that school, and I saw her, and she was like, oh, what are you doing now? And I was like, well, I'm a pro wrestler. And she was like, oh, well, I mean, that's nice. You always talked about it. And I was like, I know I did. You made fun of me. But so that was kind of a nice little, petty, moment where I was like, yeah, I did it, even though you thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Okay. All right.
It's my show. Okay. So we have this segment in the show. It's the lightning round. So it's where we give you a choice between. I'm just gonna put something out right now. Lookouts or Braves. You would say what you like more without even thinking about it.
Okay.
Okay. So first, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. Jedi or Sith?
Jedi.
Really? That surprises me.
Or Sith?
One of my favorite characters is Anakin, and I do like Anakin more when he's a Jedi, so I'll say Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Pop or metal?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Pop or metal?
Ooh, I guess metal, but it's not super heavy metal, but I like more grunge than pop.
Yeah. Rock or country?
Rock.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Slytherin or Gryffindor?
Slytherin.
That's the queen I know.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
I've taken the test 3 different times since I was a preteen, and I've always been Slytherin.
I'm a Hufflepuff. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Mountains or beach?
Ooh, beach.
Cersei or Dany?
Cersei or who?
Dany.
Daenerys?
Yeah. Dad put Dany right here.
Danny.
We have this other thing. Actually, we're just trying this out for the first time. I call this the fantasy booking, and I throw out two opponents, just random opponents, and you tell me who wins the match.
Okay. Between them?
Yep. All right. Raychell Rose and Elena Black.
Raychell Rose.
Raychell Rose and Maddie Rinkowski.
Raychell Rose.
Raychell Rose and Laney Luck.
Raychell Rose.
Raychell Rose and Kylie Ray.
Raychell Rose.
Raychell Rose and your former best friend Jenna Lynn.
Raychell Rose.
Raychell Rose and Roxy.
Time limit draw.
All right, now we're getting into some high cotton right here, okay? Raychell Rose and Lindsay Snow.
My ego would like to say Raychell Rose, but I don't know that that's the correct answer.
Raychell Rose and Thunder Rosa.
I have to say Thunder because we've only wrestled once and she beat me. So.
Hey, that was an important match, by the way. That was like at Ladies Night Out 7, and that was like that time period. And again, I don't want to mark out here, whatever. But just having studied you the last 2 months in particular since Hell Hath No Fury, like it seems to me like your career really took off with that match because before the Jenna Lynn turn, it wasn't bad or anything, but it was like when you turned on Jenna Lynn and you had that like face off with Thunder Rosa and y'all just bantering back and forth, is like you stole the show, man, and it was like sky's the limit from there. It was fantastic. So you have to be proud of that match.
Yeah, that match and the ladies' night match with Kylie are, I think, two of like the most instant buzz I've gotten like post match, as far as like people like my like people on social media like mentioning me, or like I get tagged in things, or people follow me. I think after both of those matches, it was pretty significant, like the amount of buzz they created.
I know you're probably doing a lot of interviews right now, especially since the pandemic started and everything. And we find that like at the very beginning in March, people were like, yeah, we're going to do all these interviews, and then like your interview rate goes up like 200%. And pretty soon, it just becomes part of the job, and it becomes taxing and everything. Especially when you're getting asked the same thing over and over and over again. Where do you think like you come up in the last couple of years, and you've come up in an age where like fans are smart to things, and kayfabe is sort of becoming a distant memory. It's not like it was when I was growing up. Like, how important do you think it is to keep the veil somewhat closed between you and the fans? Like, do you get squeamish about doing interviews and stuff like that, and like I don't really want to go too much into it, or is it not a factor for you?
I don't mind it either way. I can see both sides of it, as far as like people wanting to keep it more the like suspension of like disbelief, or people who want to know more about like how things work and the like what goes on in the world of wrestling. So I think I leave it up to the people who are giving the interview, which they would kind of prefer I stick to. Because, like I said, I see both sides of it, and I understand both sides of it. Especially, like, you would think, like, the younger kids would want more of the storytelling, and, like, they want it to be real, and, because, I mean, I did. But then we have, like, really smart kids who are just genuinely interested about, like, how the world works and what goes on, and, like, how we function in, like, our daily lives and things. And so I think I just generally try and leave it up to the person running the interview, and I will play off of them and what they would like.
Most of our viewers already know where to find you, but will you tell them anyway in case any don't?
Yes, I am at It's Raychell Rose on Twitter and Instagram, at Raychell Rose on Facebook. And you can find me on Pro Wrestling Tees at Raychell Rose, and you can find me on Patreon at Raychell Rose.
And you only recently started the Patreon, right? Just a few months ago, or?
Yes, I started the Patreon a few months ago, and then along with that, I started posting on YouTube. So there's also a Raychell Rose YouTube page if you would like to follow that.
Cool. Well, Queen, we appreciate you spending time with us. I know you're busy. You're out doing peasant work today, like helping people move and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, my friend had to move she got a new bed and stuff, and so we moved it from
I got you.
places.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to hang out with us, and I know you've got a lot of stuff coming up, and we're huge fans. I know I'm a big fan, and everybody at the NWA pod is. I think that probably, as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the 3 or 4 most intriguing wrestlers in the world right now, along with Lindsay Snow and Thunder Rosa, and I really am into Maddie Rinkowski too. I think you guys have all the makings for like a classic feud, you know, a long drawn out multi-match series of contests. So best of luck to you. Yeah, we actually won't be able to be there in December because we're going to another event, but we're planning on coming back to Buda, Texas, I think in January or February. So hopefully we'll see you real soon down there, and you know, you got robbed in that tournament.
I'm aware, bro. that ref, shady
as can be.
You got robbed.
She doesn't get that.
I get it. I got you. That was a good one.
All right. Well, Raychell, we appreciate it, and you guys have a great afternoon there in Texas, and best of wishes to you and your family, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you. You too. Thank you guys for talking.
Thanks.